A decision to move on never starts when you give your 2 weeks notice. If you're anything like me, it started months earlier when you realized staying with your current employer no longer made any sense. Hello again, I'm James Mayhew, and this is the Leadership in 5 podcast, High Performers. Now, in my experience as both a high-performing employee and also in my role in helping businesses attract and retain high performers, I've noticed that people don't wake up one morning and formally decide that they're done, that it's time to move on to greener pastures. In most cases, there probably wasn't even a dramatic moment, such as some kind of blow up or a breaking point of some type. It's really more that they've been showing up, doing the work, even contributing at a very high level of care and thought. But internally, they've noticed they're a little bored. Maybe they've even reached the ceiling in their role or within that company that there's nothing challenging them anymore, nothing they're aspiring to. The work that used to stretch them, it no longer does. And the problems that they used to enjoy solving, the things that got them out of bed in the morning, well, those problems they've begun to repeat. They're on repeat cycle. And they realize that their contributions just don't seem to have the impact that they once did. Now, if you lean in and ask a high performer, they can't really describe that anything is necessarily wrong, and yet they notice that their own drive, their curiosity, just isn't there. So when they begin to notice that their work no longer fulfills them, or when they realize their ideas become uninspiring, they feel as if they're betraying themselves. It's not because they've peaked. It's really more that the environment around them, that's the part that's peaked. Now, here's the thing. They don't announce this to anyone. They don't complain, but they do adjust. They stop pushing when nothing moves. They stop offering things that no longer seem to matter. They narrow their effort to only what's required and little more. And at that moment, they realize that they've actually started to quietly quit. It becomes a major wake-up call for them, and then they make the decision that, staying here, it's not really an option any longer. Now, once that happens, the rest, it's just timing. So when they give their notice, that conversation, it feels calm because, that decision isn't new to them. It feels settled because it is. And by the time the words get said out loud, all of the thinking and action steps have already been completed internally. That's why leaving doesn't feel like an impulsive thing to them. It might be a surprise to you, but to them, it feels inevitable. Now, don't miss this. This isn't about loyalty or grit or commitment. It's about what makes sense to that person, what matters to them. And the lesson that we all need to understand is this. High performers stay where their effort leads somewhere, and they leave when it doesn't. And most of the time, they've known long before anyone else ever did. So if you're noticing a high performer that's not performing like they used to, don't ignore it. Lean in and listen. You may still be able to hold on to them, and that's what we're thinking about today.